Women of the Bible, their roles and what they mean in today's world. When we look through the pages of the Bible, we often hear about great men like Moses, David, and Paul. But hidden within these powerful stories are equally powerful women, whose courage, faith, wisdom, and leadership shaped history in unforgettable ways. These women were mothers, leaders, prophets, survivors, and followers of God who played major roles in shaping spiritual lessons that still speak to us today. The women of the Bible were not passive background characters. They were active participants in God's story, showing strength in moments of fear, faith in times of doubt, and leadership in times of crisis. Their lives still carry deep meaning for the modern world, especially for understanding purpose, resilience, and identity. Today, we explore some of these remarkable women and what their stories teach us in our world today. 1. Eve, the first woman and the beginning of humanity. The story of women in the Bible begins with Eve, the first woman created according to Genesis. Eve represents the beginning of human relationship, choice, and responsibility. Her story is often discussed in relation to the Garden of Eden, where she made a choice that led to major consequences for humanity. But beyond the idea of fall, Eve represents something deeper: human curiosity and the power of choice. She shows that humans are capable of both creation and mistakes. What Eve represents today. In today's world, Eve's story reminds us that choices matter. It also teaches that mistakes do not define a person forever. Instead, they become part of growth, learning, and understanding responsibility. 2. Sarah, faith in delayed promises. Sarah, the wife of Abraham, is known for her journey of waiting. She was promised a child at an old age, something that seemed impossible at the time. Yet, she eventually became the mother of Isaac. Sarah struggled with doubt and even laughter when she first heard the promise, but her story still ended in fulfillment. What Sarah represents today. Sarah represents people who are waiting for promises to be fulfilled, whether it is marriage, career success, healing, or breakthroughs. Her story teaches patience, faith, and trusting the process, even when it seems delayed. 3. Deborah, the woman of leadership and courage. Deborah was one of the most powerful leaders in the Bible. She was a prophetess and a judge who led Israel during a time of oppression. Unlike many leaders of her time, she led both spiritually and politically. Deborah gave guidance to military leaders and inspired an entire nation to rise against oppression. She was wise, confident, and fearless. What Deborah represents today. Deborah teaches that leadership has no gender limit. In today's world, she represents women in leadership positions: politicians, CEOs, teachers, and community leaders. She shows that wisdom and courage are more important than physical strength. 4. Ruth, loyalty, hard work, and new beginnings. Ruth was a Moabite woman who chose loyalty over comfort. After losing her husband, she stayed with her mother-in-law Naomi and traveled to a new land, even though she had no guarantee of a better future. Her dedication and hard work led her to meet Boaz, and she eventually became part of the lineage of King David. What Ruth represents today. Ruth represents immigrants, single mothers, and people rebuilding their lives after loss. She teaches loyalty, humility, and the power of starting over. In today's world, she reminds us that new beginnings can come from the hardest situations. 5. Esther, courage in the face of danger. Esther was a young Jewish woman who became queen of Persia. At a critical moment, she risked her life to save her people from destruction. She did not act immediately. She fasted, prayed, and then boldly approached the king despite the danger. Her famous courage is captured in her willingness to say, "If I perish, I perish." What Esther represents today. Esther represents bravery in the face of fear. In modern life, she inspires activists, leaders, and everyday people who stand up for justice, even when it is risky.
She shows that one voice can change the fate of many. 6. Mary, faith, obedience, and divine purpose. Mary is one of the most honored women in Christianity. She was chosen to carry and raise Jesus Christ. Despite the social risk and personal uncertainty, she accepted her calling with humility, saying, "Let it be to me according to your word." Mary's life was filled with both joy and pain. She witnessed the life, ministry, and crucifixion of her son. What Mary represents today, Mary represents trust in divine purpose. She teaches surrender, strength in motherhood, and faith even when life is difficult. In today's world, she symbolizes emotional strength and spiritual resilience.
7. Mary Magdalene, redemption and transformation. Mary Magdalene is often remembered as one of Jesus' closest followers. She is known for her transformation and loyalty. She was present during Jesus' crucifixion and was the first to witness his resurrection. Her story shows that past mistakes do not define future purpose. What Mary Magdalene represents today, she represents redemption, healing, and second chances. In modern life, she speaks to anyone trying to rebuild their identity after hardship, judgment, or personal struggle. 8. The role of women in the Bible as a whole. When we look at all these women together, we see a powerful pattern. They were not limited by society. They were part of leadership, prophecy, and survival. They carried emotional and spiritual strength. They influenced nations, families, and generations. Women in the Bible were not defined by weakness. They were defined by purpose. 9. Lessons for today's world. The stories of these women are not just historical accounts. They are life lessons that still apply today. 1. Faith in uncertainty. Like Sarah and Mary, we are reminded to trust even when the future is unclear. 2. Courage under pressure. Like Esther and Deborah, we are called to stand for truth even when it is difficult. 3. Loyalty and love. Like Ruth, we learn the importance of commitment, kindness, and choosing the right path. 4. Redemption and growth. Like Mary Magdalene, we understand that no one is beyond transformation. 5. Leadership and purpose. Like Deborah, we are reminded that leadership is about wisdom, not gender or status. 10. Women of the Bible and modern society. In today's world, women continue to face challenges, balancing careers, family, identity, and expectations. The women of the Bible offer a mirror of strength and encouragement. They show that a woman can be both strong and gentle. A woman can lead nations and nurture families. A woman's voice matters in every generation. Faith and courage can overcome fear. From boardrooms to homes, from classrooms to governments, the legacy of these women continues to influence the world. In conclusion, the women of the Bible are not just characters in an ancient text. They are timeless examples of courage, faith, resilience, and purpose. Whether it is Eve's humanity, Sarah's patience, Deborah's leadership, Ruth's loyalty, Esther's bravery, Mary's obedience, or Mary Magdalene's transformation, each story carries a message that still speaks loudly today. Their lives remind us that strength is not always loud, leadership is not always formal, and purpose is not always easy, but it is always meaningful. In a modern world full of uncertainty, these women continue to guide, inspire, and challenge us to live with faith, courage, and conviction.